It is claimed that breath work can help improve our sleep, digestion, immune and respiratory functions while reducing our blood pressure and anxiety. All of which, in the midst of a pandemic, sounds more appealing than ever. Amy Hartley, like most people, thought she knew how to breathe. She had, after all, been doing it all her life. She had also given it plenty of thought, having trained as a yoga teacher. But then she took a lesson with a breathing coach who told her where she was going wrong. She pointed out she wasn't taking the air into her lower lungs, but was, she says, an upper chest breather. He then taught me this conscious breathing, and I felt my lower belly open, and I felt myself breathing a lot better after just one session. So I then became fascinated by how we breathe. Watching her students in her yoga class and observing people in everyday life, she started noticing that almost nobody breathes that well. By which she means in a way that makes your belly expand and your upper chest and back lift slightly in a fluid motion. The exception, she says, is babies, until they're about 3. Then we forget how to breathe. There has been a huge rise in interest in breath work in the last few years. In the Western wellness world, at least, spiritual practices such as Buddhism and Hinduism have long known about the benefits of breathing well. Hartley is a transformational breath coach, the method created by Judith Kravitz in the 70s. There are other methods, including Botieko and holotropic, as well as the ancient pranayama, or breath control practice in yoga. One of the stars of the breathwork world is Wim Hof, who advocates breathing exercises as alongside cold therapy and meditation. Hartley offers group and private breathwork sessions and published a book earlier this year, Breathe Well. Hers is just one of a number of books on breathing out this year, including Breathe, The New Science of a Low Start by the journalist James Nestor, and Exhale by Richie Bostock, an Instagram-friendly coach who describes breath work as the next revolution in health and wellness. These are exercises that promise to help us become better breathers, which it is claimed by practitioners can transform our physical and mental health by improving immune function, sleep, digestion, and respiratory conditions and reducing blood pressure and anxiety, or transporting you to a higher realm of consciousness if that is your thing. There is little high quality research to back up many of these claims, although it has become widely accepted that diaphragmatic breathing, engaging the large muscle between the chest and abdomen to take bigger, deeper lungfuls of air, can reduce feelings of stress and anxiety. And the NHS recommends this for stress relief. If we are breathing into the diaphragm well, we can send messages to the body that we are safe, says Hartley. Consciously slow and deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest response that is opposite to the fight or flight sympathetic nervous system. Studies have shown that controlled breathing can reduce levels of the stress hormone cortisol in saliva, and another study shows that controlled breathing can alter the chemistry in the brain, affecting levels of another stress hormone, noradrenaline, which could enhance focus and keep brains healthier for longer. There has also been a rise in the use of breathing exercises to help people with asthma. The coronavirus pandemic may have accelerated the breath training trend. Faced with a virus that affects the respiratory system, attacking the lungs of those severely affected and often leaving even those with mild symptoms with breathlessness lasting months, there has been a renewed focus on breath. Should you be worried about someone standing close enough to breathe on you? Are you used to breathing through a face mask yet? Is suddenly being aware that it's harder to take a deep breath a COVID symptom or a sign of the anxiety many of us are experiencing at the moment? I think people are becoming more aware of how they breathe and how that affects them, says Hartley, who has been teaching clients over Zoom since lockdown began. I've had clients that are now in recovery from COVID and they've said they have never become so aware of their breathing. Breathwork has become fashionable, she thinks, because it works. The increased profile of mindfulness, with its focus on breathing, has been another reason, but even while we sit, eyes closed, following the guidance of an app, few of us know how to breathe well, she says. About 80% of the people Hartley sees in her sessions are upper chest breathers, so that when they breathe in, their intercostal muscles between the ribs and their shoulder muscles are overused. Their chest puff out, and hardly anyone is breathing really well into their belly, which should be the foundation of the healthy breath. Others breathe through their mouth rather than nose. So there is all these intricacies in the way we breathe that there's always room for improvement. Watch a toddler breathe, she says, and they do it instinctively, their tummies swelling with each in-breath. With each in-breath, Hartley believes it is when children begin school that bad habits start setting in that last a lifetime. They sit for long periods, move less, and start to experience emotional stressors that affect breathing. We're designed to take shallow breaths while under threat. It is just that now we feel as if we are under threat all the time. You go into this fight or flight mode and the muscles contract. We start holding our breath a lot more than we should do. It can be anything from feeling nervous in a classroom or something can be happening at home. And you start doing these micro breath holds, which morph into an adult dysfunctional breath pattern. It happens without us realizing it. She has created a program for schools, School Breath, which launches next week after being piloted in 3 schools in East London, teaching children breathing exercises to improve concentration and reduce stress and anxiety. We're all surviving, Hartley points out. We take in 23,000 breaths in a way. We take in 23,000 breaths in a day, but she says there is room for a better breath. These micro happenings throughout our lives sadly make this wonderful toddler breath turn into this crotchety teenage breath and on into adulthood. It is hardly surprising, she says. Modern life stops us breathing well. Stress is associated with small, quick breaths, which in turn makes us feel even more frazzled. Hartley has observed that people who live in cities, with the added problem of pollution, unconsciously take in shallower breaths. And even tight-fitting clothes or snug bras can affect your breathing. While this mad desire to be skinny, she says, has meant people holding their stomachs in, she says she has seen people reluctant to take a full breath because it gives a rounded tummy shape. Spending time online too has affected our breath. When we're engaged in technology, we're doing these subconscious breath holds a lot, she says. It can happen when concentrating on writing an email, but also when mindlessly scrolling through social media. And the things we see online can make us feel inadequate or anxious. So there's an emotional factor that can affect breathing. I don't know if anyone comes off social media feeling better. There are also postural issues that can hamper our respiratory system, whether you're hunched over a laptop or head down and neck bent looking at your phone. The first step to improving your breathing is to become aware of it, says Hartley. You may notice you're holding your breath more than we realize, or taking shallow breaths. Breathing is subconscious, as in it goes on 24 hours a day, and most of those we don't notice. But it's the only system of the body that we have some alertness over and have some ability to change, says Hartley. Find out how you breathe first. Place one hand on the lower belly, one hand on the upper chest. Take a few breaths and notice which part of the body rises more. There are dozens of exercises in Hartley's book, as well as numerous tutorials online from breathwork coaches, books, and apps. But as an easy one to try, she recommends extending the exhalation as a way to feel more relaxed. Breathe in through the nose for 4, hold the breath for 2, and then breathe out for 6, and then repeat that for a few rounds. You can also practice on the move, ideally if your daily work or commute. If you're ideal on your daily work or commute, if you're back at work. Breathe in for 5 steps while you're walking and out for 5 steps, always in and out through the nose. To start getting familiar with breathing into the diaphragm, meanwhile, Hartley recommends sitting on the edge of the chair with legs hip width apart, then leaning forward with your elbows on your knees and your chin resting in the palms of your hands. Take a deep sniff-like breath and in through the nose. You should feel your belly and lower back expand, she says. And then breathe out slowly again through the nose, then repeat for a minute. And what if you want to lull yourself back to sleep? Try tensing all the muscles in your body as you breathe in through the nose, then releasing them as you exhale through the mouth, which you repeat a few times. Then create space between your teeth and, with your tongue placed on the hard palate, breathe in through the nose for a count of 3, hold it for a count of 4, then breathe out through the mouth, relaxing the tongue while counting to 5. Hartley advises repeating this for at least 10 rounds. Of all the wellness trends, one benefit appears to be that breathing, for all the coaches, books, and apps out there, cannot be commercialized in quite the same way as sleep and eating. It is free. It can be done anywhere, and the effects are instant. Breath work is brilliant for bringing us into the present moment, says Hartley. We spend a lot of time mentally elsewhere, and the breath can never be in the past or future. If we focus on our breath, we pulled back to the present moment, so there is no over worrying or overthinking. We can just be in the here and now.